What is good, Josh on the Smooth Game Man, back with yet another reaction video, baby. Today we are back with some more NFL power rankings reaction. Now last week y'all didn't give me too much feedback, but y'all did show support with the views and likes there. So, we'll keep it going up here. So as long as you guys want to see more, we'll keep doing more. Please though, comment down below. Let me know what you guys are thinking of the videos. Let me know if you want them to continue. Let me know if you don't want them to continue. Any feedback is good feedback. So yes, no, this was trash, this was good. Do the actual just normal power ranking and not react to the reaction show, or keep doing this. Let me know in the comment section so I know what you guys want to see more of, and it helps it really kind of make the content better for you guys, makes it more entertaining for you guys to watch. Later today we're going to go ahead and watch the power ranking show again, so I haven't watched it at all, so we'll see where we fall. I know I normally wear my Saints stuff, but it's been a bad last 3 weeks. But Derek Carr is injured, so put in Spencer Rattler. Let's get it. We'll never be happy about injuries, though. Hopefully he's good as a person. But as far as on field goes, if this were Madden, yeah, give me Spencer Rattler. But let's go ahead and jump into the power rankings. I'm sure we probably slipped into like the bottom, probably in that third quadrant, if not fourth, honestly, the way we've been playing recently. So we'll have to see. I'm sure Atlanta's over us now. The Bucks are probably still over us. But it'll be really interesting to see how the top of this goes. Are the Vikings still number one? Is Kansas City back on top after beating us? Let's see how they have the rankings done.
First coaching change that we have in the NFL. Robert Saleh being relieved of his duties with the Jets. I got to imagine when there's a change like this that affects how you view a team like Gang Green.
Absolutely. I mean, I moved him down 5 spots this week, so obviously the hit in London that they took had an effect, but we may have to see how this works out. They're heading into this massive game against the Bills on Monday night that takes on an even bigger meeting now. Jeff Ulbrich taking over. Can he fix this issue inside? Really, the problems are on offense. So we'll have to see. We've got some quarterback situations that are worth monitoring around the league. So a little seismic activity could have all these rankings in flux pretty quickly.
Yeah, and once again, we'll talk more
that boy says seismic activity while hurricanes
about the Jets coming up a little bit later here on Power Rankings. You mentioned the international game against the Vikings. No change at the top at the number one spot as we get you teams 1 through 8. Yes, the Vikings sitting in that top spot. No change there. The Kansas City Chiefs victorious, 5-0 on the season. Got it done against the Saints on Monday Night Football.
So just off of these rankings, you guys didn't let me. That's one another thing in the comments. Let me know if you want me to make my own power rankings and debut them here on the channel. We definitely will in a video like this. So what I'll do is I'll probably simply like throw mine. Now I'll probably throw like up over my face or something and have like my top 8 compared to his top 8. You know what I'm saying? We'll keep going like that for each of the 8 quadrants. But at least just looking at this top 8 right here. He's got Minnesota, Kansas City, Detroit staying top 3. Texans, Ravens, Commanders all move up 1. Bills drop 3. And the Packers move up 1. Do I agree with this? And y'all know I'm doing this based off of, do I believe the team on top could beat the team below and so on and so forth? That's why I would still have Kansas City number 1 over Minnesota in my eyes. I would probably even venture to say you could probably put the Commanders have been playing very well. We're going to see this week because the Commanders do they play the Ravens? Yeah, they do play the Ravens this week. So we're going to see this week how that matchup's going to go. So right now, by his rankings, theoretically, the Ravens are going to come out on top. I think the Ravens still will come out on top, so I would leave that alone. But the Commanders win this. I think they deserve to be moved up to that 3 spot over Detroit. If the Commanders pull off a win against Baltimore, I think they should be moved up to the 3 spot. Right behind Kansas City and Minnesota. Whatever way you have them ranked, that's on y'all. But as far as these rankings right here, I think I can agree with these for the most part, straight down. Maybe get a little more respect. I mean, the Lions had a bye week, so maybe a little bit more respect to putting Houston at 3, Detroit at 4, just for the bye. But I'm not mad at keeping them at the same spot either. So for the most part, we'll say the top 8 is the same.
But let's start with the number 1 team here. Look, I think what we're seeing defensively, I know all the talk is going to be about Sam Darnold, and rightfully so. But Eric, this team's defense is real.
Absolutely. And I think that obviously staked in the lead with the Van Ginkel pick 6. We're so not used to seeing Aaron Rodgers make plays like that. But credit to Brian Flores and that Vikings defense, and Stephon Gilmore shut the door late. They had a few shaky moments in there, but they held on, and it was really a 3-phase victory, right? The offense contributed a little, not as much from Sam Darnold as we've seen recently, but Will Riker 3 field goals, good special teams play overall. And the big plays on defense really put them apart. I can see this debate with the Chiefs, the Vikings, the 2 undefeated teams. They're both at bye. It's not going to change this week, but a lot of people out there wondering who is the best team in this league, and it's tough. You can see elements of each that make them appealing, and also a few weaknesses here and there.
Well,
you know how crazy it's going to be if Sam Darnold leads them to a Super Bowl? Do you know how crazy it's going to be if he wins the Super Bowl? Bro, I'm taking bets right now. I will not let that. I will go play if I got to stop. I will not let that happen.
And another team with a great defense. I think that's going to be the formula for both these teams. Yes, the quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, can get it done. Yes, Travis Kelce turned back the clock and, had that pitch play and 9 catches, a good block or 2 as well. But you look at this Brian Cook interception, really kind of set the tone. It's supposed to be a throwaway, but a nice play nonetheless. And, took Chris Olave out of the game, took Alvin Kamara out of the game, knocked Derek Carr out of the game late with an oblique injury. So, that Chiefs defense, when the offense isn't perfect, yes, they rang up a lot of yards, but 2 for 7 in the red zone isn't really getting it done, at least not to the Chiefs standard. Then the defense is going to take care of business. So again, another 3-phase operation here in Kansas City. And that's a big reason why both of these teams, the Vikings and the Chiefs, are unbeaten heading into their bye.
Yeah, and Kareem Hunt goes over 100 yards. Juju Smith-Schuster balls out in a game where he's got, I think, 130 yards receiving. So once again, Kansas City, we could talk about injuries. The defense balls out, and it just feels like Andy Reid will figure it out on the offensive side. Meanwhile, it is time to get to Future Champions. It is presented by FanDuel. If you look at the odds right now in the AFC South and some of the numbers that ring true.
Honestly, if you didn't have Houston winning this division to start the season, you were probably already crazy. But if you didn't have them, now if you don't have them, like, low-key, just go ahead and put that, was it a Y or an X? Go ahead and put that on the game. I mean, I would love to believe in Richardson, but the Colts ain't getting it done right now. And I don't think they'll take the division. I think with Richardson, they can get a wild card spot possibly. Trevor Lawrence is just, I don't know if it's him or if it's the weapons around him. They ain't getting it done. And the Titans, they're about like the Panthers of the AFC South. So we're not even going to talk about them. But yeah, if you don't have Houston already taking this division locked up, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, obviously it came to anyone who watched the end of that game, saw how it came down to that final possession for the Bills and what they decided to do with the ball and not do with the ball, which is maybe force some timeouts, run the football, et cetera. So obviously it sort of became a toss-up game. The Texans looked like the better club early. C.J. Stroud did have some mistakes late. The defense obviously let Josh Allen and that offense move it a little bit after, kind of stopping him most of the game. But and I would like to see this Texans team play better in the second half. So being outscored right now, 67-40, that's enough of a number at this point in the season where you say, hey, even if they start strong, I'd like to see 4 quarters from them. They couldn't put a few other teams away early in the season. So, yeah, they're quibbles. They're 4-1. Obviously, they've beaten some good teams along the way. But this is something that's going to be a little bit more of a test when they face a little stronger competition on the level of what we saw against Buffalo.
Hey, I don't want to get too
which they still won again.
Buffalo, who you have as 7th. Are you concerned about that squad?
Sure. No, obviously the last 2 games have kind of undercut what we saw from about the second quarter on in week 1 up to that point. So, yeah, we're constantly reevaluating here at the Power Rankings Laboratory, doing what we can to balance the good, the bad, the otherwise. And so, look, last season we saw Josh Allen, this offense, go through some slumps. This one may not be as prolonged. We'll see. But, anytime they go through one of these streaks where they make it a lot harder on themselves, you have your worries.
Yeah. Eric, I do game day preview on Sunday mornings. I sit with Steve Weich and Cynthia Freeland, and we all pick the Ravens, who you have number 5, as a winner against Cincinnati. It played out that way, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hedging just a little bit because of the desperate situation that the Bengals are in. I think the way the Ravens won this game is a huge positive sign. We were questioning them, kind of putting the hammer down. They had to come back and win this game. They had to overcome, one of those moments that Lamar Jackson, I'm sure, was cringing about and still probably thinking about. This is a good win for him.
Absolutely. You face 3 different 10-point deficits in the second half of a game on the road. And look, you can look at the Bengals record and write them off if you want to. But clearly, they are scoring at a pretty high pace and throwing the football very well. Did a lot for Sunday as well. And, the Ravens found a way. It was great to see Justin Tucker back in the long-range kicking department. Obviously a stalwart for many years, but had almost become a liability beyond 50 yards going back to last season. Big 56-yarder to tie it, game winner in overtime. Classic Ravens win, too. You can't shut Derrick Henry down the whole game. He finally got one there at the end. So impressive on a lot of fronts, even with some hiccups along the way.
And by the way, I think you have the toughest job in the building ranking some of these teams. I will push back a little bit later on the show on where you have Cincinnati, because the Bengals, to me, I get why you dropped them where you did, but I think they're better than a few of the teams that you have in front of them. So we'll have that conversation coming up in just a bit. The Commanders at 6. Be honest with me, when you're assessing the teams before the season, no way in hell you thought they'd be anywhere close to the 6th overall ranking at any point during the season, right?
I tried to talk myself into them almost cracking the top 20. I had them around 22, 23, and I thought that's pushing it a little bit, right? Yeah. So I backed them off to 25 or 6 or whatever it was. And what was funny is that I had Washington media members coming to me and say, hey, this is the most positive review we've seen this whole year. So I may not have been onto it, but I was.
Hey, look, we can all admit that, bro. Nobody saw this Commanders run coming. Like, I knew Jaden was going to come in and change that team around. I didn't think it was going to be on a CJ Stroud level change to where it's just like that. Now, all of a sudden, they literally are the Texans from last year. Boo, 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 boo. Draft quarterback, wildcard spot, got a playoff win. Well, we see the same thing here. They have a chance to take the division, not even get a wildcard spot, take the division and compete with that number 1 seed. They're 4-1. Minnesota's 5-0. I mean, it's very early. We have a long season to go. Don't get me wrong, but right now, they're looking at a pretty good spot to even compete for that top seed and get a bye. Wuchis, draft quarterback. Do good. At this point, you might want to tank for the season, but tank just enough to get the number 2 pick. Because we've seen 2 seasons straight where that's gotten you to the postseason. Oh, hey, look at that, y'all. We actually still cracked the second quadrant. So we're still in the top half of the league at least, which means 3 teams from the NFC South are up here. Crazy. But the Bucks down 1 spot to 9. Steelers staying in the top 10 to 10. Eagles up 2 to 11. Falcons up 7 to 12. Cowboys up 4 to 13. Broncos up 6 to 14. Seahawks down 4 to 15. We're down 2 to 16. Now, the only thing that I'll push back here is I do not believe, despite our losses, I do not believe personally we are worse than Seattle or Denver. So I would say it's a 14. Me personally. Y'all can have different opinions. I don't care. Who that till we die. But I do believe we are better than those 2 teams. Now Denver is on a great winning streak right now, and they're playing good, but I still don't believe they are better than us. I would say that the way Atlanta's been playing recently, they probably are better than Dallas, and I think they actually, I hate to have to admit this, but in terms of power, because I got to throw out my personal feelings, they should be above the Eagles. I mean, they literally have already beat them. They need to be above the Eagles. It's surprising to me they're below the Eagles, but they have literally beat the Eagles. I don't know. They have also, they have a game coming up, I think, here against Tampa. I don't know. No, wait. Tripping. What else would I move here? I probably honestly would put them above Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has been sliding here recently. They'd probably be 9 and 10. Bucks, Falcons, and then have the Steelers, Eagles, Cowboys, us, Denver, Seattle. That's probably how I would have it.
Yeah, I mean, look, you could easily put Pittsburgh there, but then, are you moving them up, right? Obviously Atlanta gets the big win, but I already jumped them pretty significantly too. I understand if you're a Falcons fan and mad that the Bucks are ahead of them, but, for 3.5 quarters, they did outplay Atlanta. And so I look at Baker Mayfield. Could they have finished better? Absolutely. In the first half, things look really good. The injuries have piled up, but they are going to get healthier. I think some of these injured players will be coming back soon. And I think if this game was played again tomorrow on a neutral field, Tampa's the better team. But you're right. It is so tough from about 9 to 22. I don't think there's a giant separation, Mike, between these teams.
Yeah, I'm with you there 100%. By the way, the Tampa Bay Bucks already en route to New Orleans for a match.
How did they break that off when you let AK do something like that? Ooh, my offensive line be pissing me off.
Up against the Saints, keep in mind, and I know we're having this conversation way too many times here in a very short period of time with the hurricane squarely in Tampa Bay's path right now. So thoughts and prayers, obviously, to everyone in the state of Florida with the hurricane that is fast approaching. Meanwhile, it is time for Power Moves presented by Energizer. They reference to the Falcons, 7 spots on the move up. Kirk Cousins, I got to tell you, he's got you at the edge of your seat. The Falcons are playing in these close games, and not for nothing, Eric, every time he goes out there, I go, they got a real chance to win this game.
They do, right? Obviously the Falcons have had plenty of mistakes along the way this season, including Monday night. They had like 6 penalties in the plus territory on offense. So, even though this guy threw for 509 yards, he was getting a lot of things thrown in his face that kept setting them back, plays called back, long downs and distances. And so it was very impressive to see him work the ball around. They got it to the tight end. They got it to the receiver. They threw it to the running backs as well. Everyone stepped up when they had to make a play, even if there were some landmines along the way. I mean, look, Atlanta's got to play better defense. I think they know they probably got lucky in this one, but it was a significant move up, mainly because of how they finished and how a lot of the other teams in that part of the last week's power rankings did, which is not as well.
Yeah, look, the mantra of this team is, I think you hit the nail on the head, got to play some better defense here. But more specifically, this is an offensive-minded team. And as the weeks unfold here, and as Kirk is getting more and more reps with some of these guys, this offense looks like it is rolling. Another team that was a dramatic mover in the right direction, up 4 spots, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm almost at the point where I'm willing to say this. Just play all your games on the road here. They just look like a better road team than they are a home team.
That is true so far, right? And yet, when they were leading 13-10, I was not sure the Dallas Cowboys were going to win this game. Sure enough, Pittsburgh gets the ball back. They go down and score, and I thought, that's that, okay? Give Mike McCarthy credit. He takes a lot of guff from a lot of different people, including Cowboys fans. His last drive, the play calling there, I thought was spectacular. Obviously, Brian Schottenheimer, a big part of that as well, but kept the Steelers off balance. Second big drive of the fourth quarter. They had to have it. This play to Lipke right here was absolutely huge for them. Things got a little dicey there at the end. Almost coughed it up on this ball right there with an amazing fumble punch out by Landon Roberts. But Dak falls on it. 4th down, little mesh concept. Just throw it open. And that is a great play to earn your 3rd victory of the season. Never easy for the Cowboys, right? They certainly have their way of making the degree of difficulty higher, but they pulled it out when they had to. Well after midnight, a lot of us were feeling it the next day, but the Cowboys had to feel pretty good.
Yeah, West Coast, Best Coast when it comes to watching games when they are delayed. I got to tell you, it wasn't too late. Just one other note here from a Dallas perspective. 2 drives in the fourth quarter of at least 15 plays. So 15-play drive and a 16-play drive. That is big boy football from the Dallas Cowboys. It's the reason why they moved up those 4 spots. Broncos, I got to tell you, this is looking better than I thought. I love the exchange that we saw on the sideline. Bo Nix get a little fired up with his coach. I'll take that after you pick up another victory.
Felt a little different than the chats between Peyton and Russell Wilson last year, didn't it, right? And this is a rookie now. He's played a lot of college football, 2 different programs, won a lot of games and all that. But when you step into the NFL in your 5th game, you're not afraid to go toe-to-toe with Sean Payton, who can be a tough guy to deal with sometimes, very demanding. Shows me a lot, right? He didn't have a pristine game Sunday, but I thought he played pretty well, and I suspect Peyton's given a little tough love here. And when you have a defense that can do what the Broncos have done, Pat Surtain had a great game, ran back the interception 100 yards, kind of got the ball rolling a little after a slow start. This is a good football team, too. We talked about teams like the Chiefs and the Vikings at the top. Broncos kind of have a similar formula, decent offense, very good defense. Special teams are pretty solid as well. So there's a formula there that could get them much higher on this list.
Yeah, Peyton in the press conference was obviously asked about the exchange because you have to ask. And he said, Bo's got a little Ferris Bueller in him and he's trying to get that out of him. I got to be honest with you. I think I know what that means. I'm not 100% sure. But the point is, when they're on the sideline and Bo's fired up, I do legitimately love it. I don't think there was disrespect that was there. It's like, hey, I'm getting confident here because I don't think Bo does that in week 1 or in the preseason. I think he's now starting to feel himself in a very good way. And the Broncos, this is paying dividends for them. Still more to come.
It really could be starting to get scary here a little bit. Like, I'll have to see what the rest of their schedule look like. I'm trying to keep up with all these conferences. I'm not going to lie to y'all. It's tough. Broncos, Chargers, Raiders, Kansas. Wild card spot, possibly. Obviously, you're the best team in your division, or best team in the league in your division. So, wild card spot, possibly. How many rookies could we see? And, Caleb Williams and them starting to play better too. Could we see all 3 of them rookies make it? That's another thing now people are going to wonder. I mean, obviously, they spent the 1st round pick on, J.J. McCarthy. What do the Vikings do next season? If you do go win a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold, if you do make the playoffs at the very least with Sam Darnold, what do you do with J.J. McCarthy? Is he... You gonna let him go? Or you gonna try to trade him? Or you gonna let him sit behind? Because I think Sam Darnold's only 28. Sam Darnold's young. He got at least 5 to 6 more good years probably in the league. Especially if you keep playing like this. So what do you realistically do with J.J. McCarthy? Let me know down below, Vikings fans or just y'all in general. What would y'all do with him? Would y'all trade him for a high pick? A team that needs a quarterback? teams like, Carolina, the Giants. I think the Giants probably would be a good trade landing spot for him, honestly. Get him some good receivers early, get him a spot where he can start and possibly win some games and then get a high draft pick out of it. Might not be too bad. All right, we got quadrant 3 here. Bears at 17 up 5 spots. Told you they're starting to come up. 49ers down 6, Chargers down 1, Jets down 5, Colts down 5, Cardinals up 3, Giants up 4, Bengals down 3. I heard what he said earlier about, the Bengals being better than their record, but you got to win games. They're playing great for almost the whole game, and then they're losing. So I see exactly what they're at 24. I think that's probably even generous at this point. I do like the Bears over all these teams. Honestly, I like how this is set up right here. Now, maybe Chargers above the 49ers, maybe? Coming off a bye, I really feel like they should. I think all the other teams didn't get moved, so maybe leave them where they were at 18. That the 49ers dropped down to 19, but outside of that, I love the Cardinals are moving up, but I don't know if they can still beat the Colts. I don't know if the Colts can beat the Jets. It all depends on personnel for me, like how well is Richardson playing. Is Aaron Rodgers going to start playing good again? So I like that little 3 mix there. I like how everything else is looking behind that.
I got to tell you, there was concerns about Caleb Williams. Jaden Daniels is balling out. This dude is playing efficient football at the quarterback spot. They figured out a way, got to run this football. And right now, I think the Bears are starting to become a little bit more of a threat.
Still got to work on those opening drives. Those haven't really hummed yet this season. But after a pretty bad opening drive, almost threw a pick 6, he really looked settled in. He didn't look panicky or jittered or frustrated what was happening on the field. It was much better body language, if you buy into that stuff, that I think we'd seen before, and much better physical execution here. A great throw to a wide open DJ Moore, found his receivers, didn't force the ball too. When the shots were there, he took them, and much more accurate downfield. You add that to that, a Bears defense that I think is pretty darn good. Now look, all this happened against Carolina. Their defense isn't so hot right now, but we've seen obviously what this Bears defense can do to make up for when the offense was struggling. Now that Williams has settled in, I like them much better as a team. He's going to have his bad games too, but hard not to be encouraged by, I would say, the last 7 quarters going back to the Rams game, where he's looked a lot more complete of a quarterback and less frantic.
Well, they get the Jags in London, a Jags team that finally figured out a way to get a win. 9:30 Eastern time exclusively on NFL Network. At 18, it's the San Francisco 49ers. I got to tell you, I can story some of the losses for me. Sometimes it's, just the health of these guys not out there. I don't know what the deal is. I'm actually legitimately worried about the Niners.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a thing with Jake Moody being hurt in the second half there. It changed their strategy. They had to go for it on a 4th and 23 within field goal range. But that was notwithstanding, they have some issues right now. Obviously, ball security is a problem. You saw in this, Jordan Mason putting it on the ground late kind of opened the door for the Cardinals to win it. But they weren't able to finish a drive in the second half, and that's a problem. This is a team that's built to score. Brandon Ayuk was having a big game at that point. Brock Purdy looked pretty solid in the first half. You're up 13 at half at home against a team that you'd beaten pretty soundly in that building 2 years in a row. That's got me worried as well. And, look, I will say they did lose 3 straight last year, completely undoing what the start of the season had them doing. Still ended up in the Super Bowl. I can't quit them completely, but I get why your concerns are high right now, because they're multiple. They're adding up, and this team looks a shell of what it used to look like.
Yeah, and they're matching up against a desperate Seattle team in Seattle on a short week on TNF. So something's got to give here. The Niners, once again, dropping 6 spots, dropping 5 spots, and it meant a coaching change with Robert Saleh now being dismissed as the Jets head coach. What's the fix right now, the short-term fix for this season, as the Jets right now figure out new ways to lose football games?
Yeah, getting Devontae Adams wouldn't hurt, right? I wonder if those plans are still on the table, though, right? I don't know if these are separate, if they're, firing Saleh had nothing to do with what trades they might make and all that. But clearly, adding another offensive weapon would not be a bad thing. We saw it during parts of this game, second, third, even the fourth quarter for stretches. Aaron can move the ball a little bit, but finishing drives, another red zone weapon, somebody who can draw attention away from Wilson, excuse me. But also getting this run game involved early. I mean, you fall into a double-digit hole. Braylon Allen and Breece Hall aren't going to get as many carries. They both had a tough game Sunday. That's 2 weeks in a row where Hall's been a little missing. So that offensive line has not been as good as it was in the early going. That's got to be fixed. A lot going on. The defense is okay. Yeah. That really wasn't the issue, which is obviously curious when you fire a defensive-minded head coach. But things just weren't clicking.
Not at all. And they get the Buffalo Bills, who need a win. That game on Monday night, which will be a very intriguing matchup. We'll have the postgame and the pregame show on NFL Network for you. Cincinnati at 24. I get it. They score 38 points. It goes overtime. And they shouldn't have lost that football game. Let's just call a spade here. I think they lost to the Ravens. They lost to the Chiefs. I think they're better than this ranking that you gave them.
Yeah, I mean, like I always say, at some point you are what your record is, and it's hard not to, ignore the results, right? I mean, Burrow is on pace right now for a 4,500-yard, 40 touchdown, 7 interception season. He's been pretty terrific, at least since week 1 anyway. And yet this defense has not been able to stop people consistently. Played pretty well on that side of the ball, all things considered in the first half, but second half and overtime, weren't able to get those stops. We mentioned how Baltimore came back from 3 different 10-point deficits, and then this might have been the play of the year.
God, oh, 94, hand in your uniform, your jersey, your equipment, your car that you bought with team money, your wife, your house, your kids. Give them all back to Cincinnati, please, because that was embarrassing. The ball was on the ground. He stumbled to pick it up, and then you got stiff arm not once, but 2 times and dribbled into the ground by the QB. Not by Derrick Henry, not even by a receiver, by the quarterback. The man we don't hit in practice. Yeah, I'm going to need you to give all that back to the city of Cincinnati immediately.
Here, look, sometimes you face a Mahomes or a Lamar Jackson, and they just beat you with a couple extra plays. So the spot on the power rankings reflects their record and how they've lost to good teams, like you said, the Commanders as well. But they just can't find a way to close things out.
Yeah, I got to tell you, and just as an example, the Jets, I think Cincinnati's a better team than Gang Green. And 2 teams.
I put them ahead of your Jets. I thought your Giants. No. I thought maybe I'd get some credit for that.
By the way, my G-men figured out a way to get it done. That opening drive, I'm like, oh my God, this is the season in a microcosm of the season, and it wasn't pretty, but they figured out a way to get it done. Let's get you teams 25 through.
Last quadrant here. So we have Raiders down 1, Titans staying at put. If their bye week, Rams down 4, Dolphins up 2, Jags up 3, finally getting their first dub. Browns down 2, Patriots down 2, Panthers down 1. So Panthers go back to being the worst team in the league, which I can agree with. Patriots, honestly, I probably would put the Browns lower than the Patriots at this point. At this point, I think I would do that. I could probably safely do that. Dolphins, Rams, Titans. I'm not so big on the Titans, so I could actually see the Titans slipping down into that bottom 4. Now, they were on bye week, so I understand why they didn't drop, but me personally, I probably would drop them 4 spots, put the Rams over them, so not have them drop as much. They want to drop 3 spots. Dolphins over them, moving up 3. Jaguars moving up 4. Titans dropping a total of 3 to go down there in the bottom 4. But that's my only changes. Let me know down below what you guys would do with this bottom quadrant here. Let's go ahead and see how they finish it out.
32, the Raiders. Minshew gets pulled. We see O'Connell. They sit at 25. We know Devontae's going to get traded. The Titans at 26. The Rams. How about this squad? Worst start to a season in Sean McVay's coaching career. The Dolphins are at 28. Found a way to get it done against the Patriots. The Jags, they get a win. They're at 29. At number 30, this is rough to watch, this Brown squad. The Patriots are 31. They're also at times a little difficult to watch, especially on the offensive side. And the Carolina Panthers at 32. There's some teams here that there's a reason why they're at the bottom. I think maybe the biggest surprise, considering what I thought they could be, the Cleveland Browns. Explain to me what is going on for this squad.
I don't think they know.
It's not fair to put everything on Deshaun Watson's head, but obviously he has been a big part of this problem, considering what they paid, $220 million, considering a full off season of health and work in the program. The fact that he wasn't able to really play as much in the preseason may have some effect, but I just cannot believe that how far he's regressed as a player. He and Stefanski maybe have never been a great stylistic match anyway, football-wise. the offensive line injuries, the running back injuries, and that defense too. Let's
That was
call them
all
out. They have
offensive
not
line.
been as dominant as they were a year ago.
I'm with you.
That throw was booty.
I'm with you in a
I don't
big
even
way
know who
because
was going
defensively there has been some struggles for this squad.
Yep.
Hey, before we wrap up here, the Jags, and I made reference to it getting a win. They're playing like the home away from home game in London.
Yep.
Is this are we going to see this again? They're going to beat the Bears?
Hey, they could. I think they have a little bit of momentum, but got to finish it off better than they did against the Colts.
Catch the game, 9:30 Eastern time on NFL Network.
I respect that. Can the Jags beat the Bears in London? I mean, coming off a win, but so are the Bears, and they're getting hot, and Caleb's starting to play better. I don't see it personally, but it's an interesting topic. So let me know down below how you guys enjoyed the video, man. Where did your team rank? Let me know down below in the comment section what ranking did you guys get. Do you agree with where your team ranks? And who do you got this upcoming week? You got a dub or an L on your roster? Now for us, I'm taking us till we die, man. I'm catching a dub every single week. So I think this week is Tampa. We're getting a dub, right? This week should be Tampa, I believe. We're getting a dub no matter who we play. That's why it doesn't even matter. It's going to be a dub always. I don't know who's going to be the quarterback. I don't know. I did see that they did not even bring in Spencer Rattler last time, which I thought they should have. They brought in that Jake Hayner, I think is his last name. Yeah, please put in Spencer Rattler, please. But let me know what you guys think of the video, man, down below. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. While you guys way out the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. It's me, boy, Sean the Smooth, Black Okage, Black Avatar, King Leo. I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. I'm going for the day. Peace.